Okay. The next type of diagram we'll cover is almost certainly my favorite because it's helped me so much throughout my career. It's called the state transition diagram, and it illustrates how the state of an object can change and what transitions make it change. Before any of that makes sense, we have to talk about what state and transition mean. Um, let's say let's work this out with an example. Let's say you get home one evening. Okay, you unlock your door, you enter your home. It's dark inside, right? Yeah, it's because the lights are off. So putting this in state transition diagramming terms, that means that the lights are in an off state. If you then flip the light switch, the lights are then turned into the on state, right? In order for the lights to change states, there had to be a transition, some action taken by some actor to change the state. And what action was taken? You flipped the light switch. Now, before you go to bed at night, you probably turn the lights off again. And that means that you're transitioning the lights from the on state to the off state. Okay, when we're making a state transition diagram, we're essentially illustrating this very simple model. And we can actually take a look at it. It looks like this. Okay, so this might look a little funky, but this is a good, well-formed state transition diagram. Let's talk about its parts. First, we have the big circle shapes. Those represent the states that the light in your apartment can have. They can either be off or on. They can't be kind of off or kind of on. There are just those two states, off and on. Then we have the transitions. Those are represented by arrows, just like in flowcharts. They are labeled with whatever action was taken to perform the transition. So here we have turn lights on and turn lights off. Okay, and one transitions you, from one shape to the other. We also have the start and stop shapes. Here they're kind of arbitrary, right? Because, how do we know what the beginning state of a light switch is, right? But this is fine for this particular situation. And that's really it for the components of a state transition diagram. But this is a pretty simple example. So let's look at one that's a little bit more challenging that is also more business analysis oriented. Okay, here we have the state transition diagram for some kind of request. Okay, according to this model, there are three states a request can be in, and those are pending approval, approved, and rejected. Okay, those are those three big circles there. So when the request is created, it's placed in pending approval state. If someone approves it, it moves into approved state. And if someone rejects it, it's placed in rejected state. And that's it. But what else can we learn from this diagram? First of all, if a request is in an approved state, it cannot be rejected because there's no transition going from approved to rejected or from approved back to pending approval, right? So there's no way to reject something that's already approved. And the same thing goes for if something is rejected, it can't be turned around and approved later. So this shows that either approving or rejecting something is a one-time thing that cannot be undone for any given request. Okay. So this is actually one of the reasons I love state transition diagrams because they highlight situations like this. If you don't have any requirements stating something to the effect of, well, the system will enable a user to reverse a prior approval action, then it won't be developed by the technology team. And you might run into problems later. This is actually one of my favorite examples of how modeling can help you to find missing requirements. When to use state transition diagrams. I usually make one whenever my solution calls for objects with various statuses. Or sometimes an object is taken through a process where it changes several times before being finalized. That's when I essentially use it. All right, so that's it for state transition diagrams. Let us move on.